music. I will put up.
How's my volume?
Give me say bibbity bobbity boo.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
It seems pretty good.
Okay, that's fine. I haven't got to touch my knob at all. Then.
Oh, I'm capturing that out.
Well, I talk about the knobs on the mixer. Run, John, your mind is in the
That's
gutter,
why
so.
you call them something else. I don't know, sliders or not sliders.
Oh man, your mind is in the gutter. Take it out, sir.
Oh, I'm capturing that out, and it's going on my soundboard.
Chat is horrified. They're like, "Did you just say that?" My wife is standing behind me, looking at me, going, "I can't believe you just said that."
Well, we all know what he said, what he meant, but we're only going to focus on what he said. All right, let me put up the title card, and we'll get started, man.
Let's do it.
Hey everyone, today is March 8th, 2017. This is episode 68 of Run, Jump, Stomp. Right over there is Zap. How's it going, Zap? What's going on, man?
How are you doing? I'm good, man. How are you?
I am doing awesome. We are talking about video games today, and this week, all your Switch questions will get answered.
Zelda and the paid reviews.
New robots.
Zap has Rage.
What's new? Quake Champions Beta.
And Joy-Con for the PC.
Those stories and more on this episode of Run, Jump, Stomp. Stick around. All right, everybody, we are almost 1 week from the day that the Switch launched. I have one right here, been playing a whole lot of it, and Zap said he's going to play the part of the person who hasn't picked one up yet and wants to know about it. So he's basically standing in for you if you don't have one. So Zap, why don't you go ahead and ask the questions that you have about the Nintendo Switch?
I'm going to leave the big one first. I'm going to leave kind of Zelda stuff out. We're going to talk mainly about the hardware first.
Yes, we should definitely separate the two. Even though the two, they go hand in hand, we definitely want to separate them.
Because there's probably somewhere out there that bought it for the other games, not Zelda. There's going to be 1% of you out there. So let's talk about the actual hardware. First, we'll start with the controllers. Do you need a Pro Controller? The question I've seen around on the internet, a lot of people are saying that the Pro Controller is amazing. But my question is, because that is a lot of money for a controller, do you need it? Will do the Joy-Cons and the grip stuff do the job? Are they comfortable enough, or do I need to spend the extra on a Pro Controller?
All right, so this is actually, I was really surprised. My initial reaction when I saw the Joy-Cons in the grip, and I've got the Switch right here, I'm taking the Joy-Cons off, and I'm going to put them on the grip. And if you're just listening to it, you just imagine that I'm holding it up for you. But if you're watching, you can see the Joy-Con in the grip. Of course, we got some weird green screen stuff going on with it. But this thing, I looked at it and I said, well, that looks terribly uncomfortable. And I'm going to order a Pro Controller because I don't think that this is going to be good enough. And I am happy to say that I was wrong. When I first got it, I immediately hooked up the Pro Controller and played it using that. And it wasn't until the next time that I streamed that I actually started playing just using this. And I said to myself, I know Zap is going to ask if this is a viable way to play. And it absolutely is. This is very comfortable. Now, there's my only problem with this setup is the minus button. So I'm going to hold it up close. You can see the minus button is right there, and it's above the left joystick. And the plus button is fine because it's near It's near the buttons or the face buttons, but the minus button is above the joystick. And when I'm playing, what like for let's say I play Zelda, the minus button is my map, so I got to hit that button to go to the map. And I don't know if putting it in a different place would have been better or if changing its shape would be better, but I tend to like I push it and I really got to push hard on it or I got to get like my fingernail on the minus part in order to depress it. And but then again, it's not a button that you I mean, I open it to look at the map, but it's not something that I use like in combat or anything. Um I think that if the button were bigger, then it would have been better. Or maybe had like a square or something around it, like the share button does down here on the bottom. I think that's a little bit easier to hit. Or if it had been placed in a different place. I heard a lot of people say that they didn't like how this is lined up vertically. That doesn't bother me at all when even so when I have it in the Joy-Con grip, this feels incredibly comfortable. And what I've noticed that I do is I'm used to I'm trying to find the camera. I'm used to moving my like on an Xbox controller or something, I move my thumb over here. What I'm doing instead is when I'm here, I just bend my thumb a little bit and it's fine. It's totally comfortable and I really like it. I think that this is surprisingly good and it looks really stupid. So that's the problem with it. It just looks dumb, but it's
Yeah,
really good.
it's a dumb looking piece of kit. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it looks
It
like a
looks horrible.
dog.
Yeah, it just looks stupid. I mean, whoever designed that needs a slap.
Well, but it's function over form because this is very functional. And
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
answer do you have to buy a pro controller is absolutely not. Now,
That's good.
something else that I tried yesterday, I played some Zelda. Big surprise! I can't tear myself away from that game. We'll talk more about that later. Is I found playing like this perfectly acceptable too. I've got my hands separated. It's really good. My fingers are holding around the you can't see it. Where's the camera? My fingers are wrapped around the Joy Cons really well, and it's very comfortable. And especially if you just rest your thumb on the buttons on this one
Yeah.
and on the joystick on this one, and then I don't have very far to move to get to the right joystick. It's really comfortable. And the other thing that I found is it comes with these straps so that when you're playing like arms or whatever, because they have motion controls built in, when you put them on, I thought, oh, this will be the way that I want to play it. When if I have them separated, not really. The only way that I want it, the reason that I would use this is if I want to play with them like sideways, like this. And
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
actually not bad either. And it's because the controllers are so small. Having this, I thought that this joystick in the middle would be an issue. But it's not really an issue because the controller's small. So I don't really have to reach all that far to get to it. In fact, if I look at my Steam controller, like the distance from the edge of the controller to the joystick is actually less on the Joy-Con. And this is like you guys have heard me gush about this controller a million times. The Steam controller, very very comfortable controller. These are also really comfortable. So I think the Joy-Cons are a hit myself.
That's good. That's good because I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to be kind of fighting the consumer corner because as much as I love the Switch, I hate the pricing of some of the stuff. I think, as we've discussed on the show before, where we think Nintendo have got a great product and consumer like the Nintendo console itself was good price. Its accessories were quite excessive in price wise. Another question is battery life. Let's talk battery life. On have you taken it out of the dock? Walked around with it, walked into lampposts yet because you just drawn to Zelda too much?
Well, I don't play it walking around. Want to
Right,
make
okay.
sure that I set that example for my son. Put it away when you're walking, so you don't, walk into a manhole or something. Um, I haven't done that, but have I played with it off system? Yes, I have. Um,
Okay.
all the reports out there say, or Nintendo themselves, they said you're going to get about 2.5 to 3 hours playing Zelda on just battery. And sure, probably. Not once have I sat down to play Zelda and said to myself, "Oh crap, my battery's almost dead." I charge it when I get home. I get home from work. I put it in I was playing today on my lunch break. Right.
Yeah.
I charge it when I get home. If I am going someplace, I take it with me, and it's there to play. And is it, an 8-hour battery life? No. But if it were an 8-hour battery life, it'd be a whole lot heavier and not fun to hold. It wouldn't be comfortable to hold if it were a whole lot heavier. And because, man, this thing it feels dense in your hands. That thing, it is a solid piece of equipment. So the battery life, having 2.5 hours to 3 hours on Zelda, I'm totally fine with that. I also, though, I have an Anker Power Core Plus 20,100 milliamp hour external battery. And I did some testing, and there were some people who were saying that external batteries won't work on this. This is USB-C out, and the Switch has USB-C in. And I plugged it in and played it just to test because I wanted to know, especially because I've got like a 4-hour car ride trip coming up where my son's going to be sitting in the back wanting to play a game, probably Zelda, and if it's running out, he's gonna, that wouldn't be good. So I was testing it to find out, and I was playing it for like 30 minutes, and when I was done, I was still at 100%. So therefore, it's the having an external battery, as long as it can push enough volts or amps. I haven't done physics in a long time. I can't remember
amps.
which. Huh?
Amps. I think it was
Well,
the
but they
amperage
have
is high enough.
both. They have both.
Okay.
So as long as it can push enough, then you're going to be able to play for a very extended time. Like, I think it has like a 5 or 6,000 milliamp hour battery in it, and having a 20,000 milliamp hour battery is absolutely bananas.
Yeah. Have you licked a cartridge?
No. I've heard that it's very bitter. For those of you wondering, Nintendo apparently treated the cartridges, and this is really brilliant, and I'm sure that it upped the expense of making them, but they treated the cartridge with a bitterant to make it so that if you've got young kids and you've got a cartridge laying around, if the kid puts it in their mouth, it's going to taste so bad that the kid's going to want to spit it out. And no, I didn't lick the cartridge. I'm not going to lick the cartridge.
We're not going to see Run Jump Live lick a Nintendo cartridge.
No, you aren't. That's not going to happen.
Because I caught Angry Joe and the whole of his chat.
I watched that.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh my god, it feels like it hurts," and I was like, "Well, I'm glad that I didn't do that." But I think that it's good that they did that because they probably saved some kid's life.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the cartridges aren't very big, are they?
No, my god, they're absolutely tiny. They're the size of your thumbnail.
Yeah, I had heard, and Nintendo very clever in that sense that they're basically protecting the consumer, because the last thing you want is to have to open. The last thing you want to have to do is bring your child to me, who's a butcher, to get your Zelda discount cartridge out. It's the last thing you want to do. So, I mean, pretty much on a consumer level, screen-wise, is the screen good looking? Does it really, when it obviously you say out of the dock, is it a good looking screen? Does it push out Zelda nicely? All that kind of stuff.
The screen looks fantastic. I know that 720p. It's a 720p screen. And I'm not really sure about the color range or the contrast ratio, because I don't think Nintendo's released that information. But a lot of people were saying 720p is too low. The reason, and I've said this before, but the reason you want to have extremely high resolution on like your phone and stuff, whoops, turn that off, is because you're reading a lot of text on your phone. Maybe you're reading a book or maybe you're reading a text message or something like that. On a game, having a high resolution is not nearly as important. And Nintendo has to make this balance. They have to say, all right, well, what's more important? That we have a longer battery life or and a lower cost, or that we have a higher resolution. And so they chose to have a lower resolution in order to lower their cost and increase their battery life. And I think that that's the right choice that they made. Now, and I know that everybody, here I am gushing about the system. It has its problems, but that I'm sure that we'll get to.
Oh, we're going to get there. I'm going to be the bad thorn in the side in a minute with the problems. Don't worry. Talking of problems, has yours had any of the problems announced? We've got out in the wild at the minute. Now, these are isolated incidents. These aren't what we call, except from one that I will say, which is obviously the Joy-Con disconnectivity. I've seen dead pixels, and I've also seen bricked machines. That's not a great thing for a console in its first week of launch. At the same time, there's always going to be problems in its first week. So we'll handle the disconnectivity of the Joy-Con. Has yours been fine?
Mine has been fine. When I'm streaming, I am very close to the Switch. I can reach forward and touch it with my hand right now. So that's not a very good test. But, I did the same test that they did on Game Explain, where we brought up the control calibration, and you could see like the circle, and you could move the Joy-Con around to, that's the wrong color. I'll use the different color, where you could use the Joy-Con, move the Joy-Con around, and you could see if it's happening on screen. And then, sure enough, I covered it with my hand to try and block the signal. I wasn't having any issue. I did the same thing out in the other room, and that also worked. That being said, there's a guy whose YouTube channel is called Spawnwave. He took the left Joy-Con apart.
Yeah.
And what he found is that it has a shorter antenna than the one in the right. And I'm sure that there was a reason for it because they have different tech in them. I'm sure that there was a reason why they had to elongate the antenna in the right one. And my guess is what we will see moving forward is later on, the Nintendo will probably refresh this, and they probably won't say anything, but they'll make a change internally that won't cost them very much money. By elongating that antenna and thereby getting rid of the problem.
Of course.
I didn't experience the problem. I know some people have and some people haven't. Some people said that after the day one patch that problem went away. So because I haven't experienced it, I really don't know. It is an issue. Like, it really bothers me that it's something that wasn't caught in R&D. That's a problem. They should have caught something like that, especially because so many of the review units were experiencing the issue. Now, what I wonder is, had they already fixed that issue when sending out the early review units? I don't know. That's all going to be up to speculation.
Yeah, it's kind of like, as we said last week, it's like they built one and went, let's take a break and we'll build the next one later, and then kind of just forgot about it. It's a shame that if you haven't experienced a problem, that's brilliant. That's good for you. I'm guessing you've got no dead pixels, and I'm guessing yours isn't bricked either.
Yeah, it's not bricked. No dead pixels. And by the way, I have two of them. I have one, and my son has one, and we didn't experience any of the issues on either either console.
That's cool. The other thing that I'd seen is the sliding the system in and out of the dock. And Nintendo have now removed their docks from sale.
Right. Although they have somebody reached out to Nintendo and said, is the reason that you removed the docks from sale because of the scratch screens? Nintendo said, no, we just sold out. So they sold out of them. It's not that it's not that they are not for sale. It's that they don't have any more.
Because everything else that's sold out, I may be looking at it the wrong way, but everything that's sold out on their website is still listed as sold out. The docks are completely removed from the website.
Oh, okay. Well, that was just I read it half in passing between classes today, so I could be wrong, but I read somewhere that it was just because they were sold out. Now, are they looking at putting softer plastic in there? I don't know. As long as its hardness is higher than the plastic in the screen, and the main problem is that they decided to go with a plastic screen instead of a glass one.
Yeah, and that's an issue. You've got a lot of problems with doing that itself.
But like back when Kimishima took over, and he's the president of Nintendo, he said specifically, "We will not be selling the Nintendo Switch at a loss." So I think that's one of the things that they decided in order to save money is to go with a plastic screen.
Yeah, I mean, from all intents and purposes, let's. I mean, they're the only bad things I've heard about the Switch itself. And many of the questions I think have been answered on the consumer. This is the big one. Can I buy a Nintendo Switch? Now, in England, they are £280. For you, it's $300. Excluding a game. All right, I am going into a shop, not buying a game for my Switch because I'm a bit crazy like that. But anyway, do I need anything else? Can I get away with just the Switch, the Joy-Cons? This is the big one, the consumer question. You have £280 in your hands. Is that all I need? Or do you feel like in your heart of hearts, you need the extras?
I don't feel like you need the extras at all, but it does not come with a game, so you will have to buy a game.
Of course. So we're talking in England, Zelda is £45. We're talking £320 for a Switch. I know some people have spent in excess of $600 on a Switch because they've bought all the added extras that you can get and all this sort of stuff. £320 for a console and a game, I feel, is reasonable with a new launch, and it's such an innovative console. It's a different kind of console. So I think, I'm glad that from someone who's got one, well, not one, but two Switches, it's good to hear that consumer-wise, then yeah, that's great. That's nice to hear that we haven't got to go out and buy a Pro controller. We haven't got to buy extra Joy-Cons and all this, that, and the other. If you just want to sit down with a Switch and Zelda, 320 quid, job done. Would you agree?
Well, I would agree. However, I would say this one caveat. Zelda is not a multiplayer game. There are some multiplayer games, but there's no huge... I mean, Zelda is clearly the big draw right now. And I look at the Switch coming out in March as a soft launch.
Yeah.
They're launching it now so that there's plenty of Switches in the market. That way, when Christmas hits, they can really hit hard. So I feel like if you don't want to buy it now, I understand the desire for people to want to play the game that everybody's playing, but it's not a multiplayer game. So you're not going to have any worse of an experience by waiting a few months down the road when there's more variety. That being said, a few months down the road, if you wait a few months down the road and you buy it then, well, guess what you're going to be playing? You're going to be playing Zelda. It doesn't matter what other games are out. You're going to be playing Zelda because it's that friggin' good. This game is amazing, and we'll get into more about Zelda later. But that's the game you're going to be playing when you get it. So whether you buy it now or whether you wait a few months, you're going to have the same experience. And if right now the your wallet is telling you don't spend that money yet, then wait a little while.
Yeah, of course. I'm at this point. I haven't watched any Zelda streams at all. I've caught a little bit of yours the other night when you got it, but I'm staying away purely because I've never really played a Zelda game, and I want Breath of the Wild to be my first Zelda experience. So when we pick up our Switch later in the year, once our holiday and stuff has paid off, I will buy a Switch and I will stream Zelda. I want to have that experience, but I'm going to have a completely clean experience because I'm staying away from Zelda. My family saw the adverts, for the Switch. My wife thinks it's amazing, and my wife is not really into game consoles. She loves Legos Dimensions on the PS4 with kids and that. And it was nice to see her get quite excited about a console as well. So all of a sudden, that's an incentive for us to get one later in the year. So I think we should get onto the good stuff. The sales wise of the Nintendo, I read today that it could be outselling the Wii.
Well, while that's true, there's you got to remember that the Wii launch, they didn't have enough Wiis to go around. Nintendo did not, like, they had problems with manufacturing. They couldn't get them out enough. They were having all kinds of issues having enough in the marketplace. That, and it was incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
The Wii was very, very cheap. Although you look at inflation, I think that the Switch is roughly the same cost.
Yeah, it is. I think we did this a few weeks ago, didn't we? That
The
the Nintendo Switch is actually around about the same price as the Wii if inflation hadn't done what
I
it
think
did.
it's like it's number 4 in the cheapest consoles of all time.
Yes.
But I think the Wii is cheaper. But there was just you just could not get one, and people were lining up like crazy trying to find them. Even Xbox turned around and said, "Hey, you want to get a Wii 360 because you want to have a Wii and a 360." That was their way of saying, forget about PlayStation, get an Xbox 360 and supplement it with a Wii. So they and they had very compelling advertisements too, that made it hard for people to. It drove up demand.
Yeah.
We don't have real numbers. Like, nobody has said this is the number of consoles that sold, but GameStop came out and said that the Nintendo Switch is the strongest console launch in years, which is really impressive. But we also have to remember that the Wii U sold out completely when it first came out. That's because Nintendo consoles sell out. They
Yeah.
they move a lot of product at first. What's really going to be more important is not this first month, but the second month. The second month is far more important to tell us about the health of this console in the long run.
And to see what it does in the fall when it comes to Christmas time, when consoles are in the public eye. And that's I think the big telling will be what happens at the end of this year when Christmas comes around. If they can shift enough, then I mean you can always go onto eBay currently. I'm now looking at eBay on Nintendo Switch on eBay. If you want to pay $800, you can get one off eBay. There you go. So if you really want to spend some money, go on eBay.
Well, I think that Nintendo has currently, their manufacturing has increased. Kimishima said like a month ago, I think he said, because of all the pre-orders, we're hitting that lever and upping manufacturing. So I think that you're going to have no problem finding one. I think that they're going to be trickling in, and honestly, I feel like if they had waited a couple of months and just kept kept manufacturing these and stacking up the boxes, and just kept doing that for a couple more months, and then launched in summer, they would have been crazy. Like, I bet you they would have had the best numbers of all time, because there's a lot of hype around the Switch. But I understand why they didn't do it, because they wanted to make sure their Q4 sales, because their fiscal year ends at the end of March. So that's why they wanted to get this out in March, so they could get these sales on the book for last year.
Yeah. No, I think it's right, but I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing for Nintendo, and I don't. No one can bash Nintendo, really. I don't bash Nintendo. I want Nintendo to succeed. I've always called them an alternative to PlayStation and Xbox. It's an alternative games console. I mean, everyone out there when they first launched were comparing it. There was one review, and this really, really, really got my goat up. Didn't make me rage. It got my goat up. There's a difference. Get my goat up is here. Rage is here. So that much difference. Just if anybody needed clarification.
If somebody could please, who listens, just make us just a drawing of different Zap faces on a scale from rage to goat, and that would be great.
It's goat to rage. Goat to rage.
Goat to rage. Sorry.
And in the middle is grinding gears. So we've got goat, gears, rage.
You know what really grinds my gears?
That's it. Is one reviewer compared it to the Xbox and the PS4? No, don't compare it to those. Stop it. Just look at what's in your hand. It's nothing like an Xbox. It's nothing like a PS4. It's completely different. And I'm thinking, if you're going to give it, because this reviewer gave it 2 stars out of 5 on the hardware, because they compared it directly to a PS4 and an Xbox. No, don't do that. Just stop and think for a minute. And they were well known. I'll have to try and find the article. I forgot to put it in the show notes and link it in the chat later in the show. But I'm thinking, what? Why? The PS4s and the Xbox are much more powerful console. They're not a portable console for a start. I mean, unless I can find a way of rigging up a monitor on the go with a massive backpack and battery pack on my back to play the PS4 on the go. No, they're not. And I'm thinking they need to stop this comparison between the home consoles like that. Compare Xbox and PS4 all you like. The Switch is that one in the middle. It's an alternative. It's a step away from the norm, and that's how I like it. And that's what I like about Nintendo. So, um,
If
I
it were
completely
if it were just like another PS4, I'd have no reason to buy it.
yeah, exactly. I just don't get it, and that's exactly why I want to buy one. I've got a PS4, I've got a PC that it's all singing, all dancing, and my son behind me is singing. And
He ran
dancing as we
away.
speak. Yeah, he ran away as soon as I turned my chair around. And I'm like, you just seriously stop in this day and age of trying to cause console wars for no reason and compare and review it on what you have in front of you. Because from what I've seen, the Switch and hopefully at some point over the next week or two, I'll be able to get my hands on and have a go at one. And when I pop to the city and stuff, because I expect the game shop's got one there to try. So just review it, and everyone who listens to the podcast, go in there with an open mind about it, because at the end of the day, it's an alternative to your home consoles and stuff. So I'm very happy for Nintendo at this point in time. I think that the bugs and stuff are minor, and I think it's launched with a great success, and long may it continue.
I agree. All right. So there was one thing. Actually, no. If there was a story about Dead Pixels that I found really interesting, and I'm not going to go over it because we've been talking about the Switch for a long time.
Have we?
Yeah, it feels like it. Yeah, we're already at 32 minutes. But I just dropped that into the show notes so you guys can check it out. But let's move on to the second story. Also, Nintendo.
Funny enough, it's about the game.
Yeah.
So this is a bit different. So we both agree that there will be no Zelda style story content or anything like that in the game in the podcast. We won't spoil it for anybody who's planning to pick up Zelda, but we're going to talk about its reviews. Oh, this is a doozy. I love this one. Apparently, they had paid reviews for Zelda.
Well, I don't believe that for a second, because if Nintendo paid reviewers, then Star Fox Zero would have gotten good reviews. That game, by all accounts, was crapper and given bad reviews for it. Look at 1-2 Switch. 1-2 Switch got terrible reviews. And that's like their big branding for this particular, for the Switch. They opened with that at their announcement in January. So I don't believe for a second that there's any evidence of paid reviews. It's just people who are finding it hard to believe that the game is that good. And I can understand why.
They're just bitter they haven't got one. I'm one of these negative reviewers on Metacritic. Mine says, I can't believe Bill's got 2 and I've got none. No, it's basically Metacritic. So we're going to be talking about Metacritic, and whether you can believe Metacritic or not is kind of, I grain over Metacritic with a pinch of salt.
Well, to be fair, Metacritic doesn't actually review games. They just compile everybody else's reviews.
Yeah, what I mean is I take their reviews with a pinch of salt, because some of them are really salty. They're saltier than me on a bad day, and that's saying something. But what's happening now is people who believe Zelda deserved the 10 are now battling the negative reviews by doing fake reviews with a 10.
That's ridiculous.
So what you're getting on Metacritic is you're getting complete and utter madness. So what they're doing is someone's given a negative review who's never played the game, and someone else who hasn't played the game is also given it a 10. And it's like, why? What are you doing? Just because they think the Zelda fans think it needs balancing out, and it's like, you really are not helping any kind of scenario.
Yeah, this is why I do not like numbered reviews. People go straight to the number and they ignore everything that anybody has said about it. They don't actually read the review. What is it that the person liked? What is it that they didn't like? So I don't like numbered reviews at all, and so I tend to I don't avoid them. That being said, when I saw that it is like the best reviewed, or not the best, but one of the best of all time, I was like, well, that brings up my hopes that the game will be good. Right now, it's playing music. Shut up. Okay. Right now on Metacritic, it's got at 98. And like there's a best of section somewhere. I can't remember where, and I think it was like fourth on the list or something like that. And that was a few days ago. When I saw that it was getting really good reviews, I got excited, and then I got apprehensive. I was like, well, I hope it can live up to the hype that it's building up to, and I'm
Of
here to tell you
course.
it does.
I've got to read for the podcast because we're talking about Metacritic. I've got to read some of the negatives. All right, let's see if you agree with any of these, Bill. So sit back, everyone at home, sit back and relax because this is juicy. Um, I'm not going to announce any names for obvious reasons, but the first one that comes to my mind is be wary of people giving this game high score. They might just be trying to sell you something,
Okay.
and they give it a 3 out of 10. Right? Okay.
All right.
Um, one of them says, um, game overrated, no story, bad graphics, clumsy gameplay, bad enemies, little history.
Okay. You went really fast there. Bad
Sorry,
graphics. I'm going to stop
bad graph.
there.
So game overrated, no story, bad graphics, clumsy gameplay, bad enemies, little history. Continues with same. There's an expletive that I can't say. Game as the Wii version. No, and there's no difference in graphics or gameplay.
Okay.
They give it
Um.
a 2.
So first off, I got to say that Zelda is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Is it realistic looking? Absolutely not. They're going for a more stylized thing. However, there are issues with the graphics in that there's some frame rate issues. There's definite frame rate issues that I have run into probably once or twice where I'm in a fight and the game doesn't quite grind to a halt, although I've seen video of the fights of the game grinding to a halt in some places. So it's not realistic looking, but it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And another reason why people are saying it has bad graphics is because the textures don't look really good when you move up close to them.
No.
But when you are looking at this, when you are looking at the world that you can explore and you can see everything for a very long distance, and like you can see a mountain off in the distance, and you can go there, and that's not an exaggeration. You really can go there, and then when you climb to the top of that mountain, you're like, "Holy crap! It keeps going!"
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, and the game is beautiful. That's a ridiculous thing. As far as the story, I have no idea what the story is. I've put 20 hours into the game already, and every time that I take a step, I am distracted by something else. It is the most dense game I've ever played. Every 5 feet, I feel like there's some new thing that I'm like, hey, what's that thing over there? So I go over there and I find out, or I start heading that direction and I see 3 other things that I have to go do.
Mm.
It's a very, very dense game, and so I don't feel like I'm going to uncover anything in the story for a very long time.
And I think my favourite though of the negative is I haven't played the game yet, but I'm giving it a 0 just to balance out the reviews because all the positive ones are paid. That's my favourite review on Metacritic.
Well,
So I just
listen, I think if you're looking for somebody else's, and I'm not talking to you, Zap, I'm talking to everybody. If you're
yeah, yeah.
looking for somebody to verify or make you feel better about your choice, then go ahead and look for that. But what I think you should do is, if you're looking for reviews for any game, I think that the much better way to go about it is find a reviewer who you tend to agree with,
Yeah.
and then see what they think about games that are coming out before you buy them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm going to talk about a game that I just bought and played today, and I did a little bit earlier on stream, later in the show, and it comes under this whole same bracket of being reviewed. And I'll explain a bit more later, but it's bonkers. I can see why Zelda got reviewed so highly. It's a beautiful game. It's gorgeous. Graphics are stunning. I don't really know anything about the story of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild, but I love the look of it. I mean, take WildStar as going on graphic. It's a fun looking game, and it's a gorgeous game. But these sort of things, people need to stop going about the graphics just because it's a cartoony looking game. It's a good game. It's a good looking game, and I'm so glad. I'm pleased that you're getting so much enjoyment out of it. I just think it's sad that we live in a world where someone thinks they've got to combat reviews with this, and or they think it's all paid. But then again, that's the internet.
Well, how dare you like Pepsi when I clearly like Coke? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's, not everybody has to agree on it.
No, that's it. So great. I think we should leave that one there before we start talking about Zelda, and you spoil it for everyone.
Yeah, don't worry, I won't spoil anything. All right, so let's move on. If you guys want to see any Zelda gameplay, I'm going to be playing it on Friday right here at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. All right, so let's move on past Zelda. Awesome game, by the way. And let's talk about another awesome game. That's Overwatch. Did you see the new hero for Overwatch?
Yes, I have seen it, and haven't played Overwatch yet.
Well, okay, so the new hero is not. Well, actually, I don't know if they're available yet. I know that they were when I put this in the show notes. They were in the PTR.
Yes,
And this hero looks fantastic. It's a new tank hero. It's a quadruped, which is weird, but it's a robot. And I'm not going to go into the lore behind it, but it's really interesting, and you should definitely check it out. She's got these really cool abilities. She has a very large magazine. I say she because it's voiced by a woman. It has a very large magazine for the fusion driver. When you're shooting it, it slows you down. You also have an ability which makes it so you can't be CC'd. Then you've got one called Halt, where you can shoot a little. You know how Zarya can shoot like a black hole as her ult?
yeah.
And it locks everybody in place. This is like a mini version of that. You shoot it out, and then when you right click again, if you're on a PC, or you alt fire again on your controller if you're on a console, then it grabs everybody who's nearby and just pulls them to it for just a second, and then they can go back to what they were doing. And she also has a shield that she can throw out in front of her to give people a little cover to push forward. And I think that she looks like an absolute joy. And her last ability is like this pod she can put down on the ground, and it basically gives everybody a damage boost around her, which is really cool. So I think Orisa looks very, very fun, and I'm looking forward to playing Overwatch as soon as she comes out. Which I think, I think that
It must be soon.
what was her name with the hacker lady?
Oh, quickly before chat tells us. He goes, boop.
Yeah, that's right. Hacker lady, that's what I'll just call her. I give up. Hacker lady, she was only on the PTR for I think like 2 weeks, and then she was released. So hopefully Orisa comes out pretty quick. Sombra. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Snow. And Dragon Tears. I think, and Paralegal Princess. So I think that we'll probably see Orisa sooner rather than later. I'm going to guess in the next couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to playing her.
Yeah, keep giving us content, Blizzard. That's amazing. I love the fact that everyone got hyped over Doomfist, and Doomfist is nowhere to be seen yet.
I know. I really want. Can we please Blizzard just get Terry
No,
Crews to
just
voice
I want this
Doomfist?
to carry on. No, I want it to carry on because it's great. It's great for the game. The longer Doomfist stays out of it, and the more hype they can generate, that's good. That's good. As long as they don't go down this augmented reality thing that he did with Sombra, because that was poor. But she looks fun. She looks really, really cool. I haven't played Overwatch yet. I haven't played Overwatch for a while. So yeah, I'm looking at it, and every time I click on a Blizzard website, it tells me that the Hearthstone expansion is available for purchase. So why did you let me click on that link?
Oh, sorry,
Jump.
man. I know.
You know,
For those of
you
you
know,
that don't know, Zap is a huge Hearthstone fan.
a huge Hearthstone addict, and there's someone else in chat. The Sax Machine. He's here this evening. He normally listens when he's in the lorry driving around around the UK. He's also a Hearthstone fan, and he knows the pain of being Hearthstone people. So he knows the pain all too well. So no, she looks really cool. Her abilities. I like this slow mechanic. I think that's a really really cool idea. I don't think is there any other slow mechanics in Overwatch?
Um,
I don't think there's any other skills that cause slow.
well, I mean, just the ice from
Yeah,
what's her
yeah, of
name,
course.
as far as I can think
May,
of.
May, yeah. No, the sad thing is Bastion's getting nerfed, and Bastion was amazing.
Well, he was overpowered though. Like my
No,
son even said he got on and he and I were playing Overwatch and he got on Bastion after Bastion got his buff. And because I go, hey man, I heard that Bastion got a buff. You might want to check him out because he was his favorite when he first started playing. And
he was my favorite.
he goes, he came in afterwards and he goes, Bastion is too powerful, Dad. And I know. You better play him before he gets nerfed. And then I had to explain what nerf meant. But
Oh, I'm just gutted because I do you know what I think. Bastion is just one of them characters that everyone loves. That I, Princess in chat is raging at me now because I love Bastion. I just think that Bastion's one of them characters that's pretty cool. And it's just a shame. My dad, bless him, might start playing Overwatch because he thinks it looks a really cool game, and he doesn't really do many shooters, so that's quite cool as well.
that's the thing.
So
I really don't play shooters either. I played Doom
yeah,
but I don't play any Call of Duty or whatever the other version of
Battlefield.
Battlefield. I don't play any of those. I don't like those kind of games. I'm not a shooter guy. I haven't been a shooter guy for years. But Overwatch has pulled me back in, and I'm really, really loving it.
I'll tell you what my dad picked out that I never really thought about, and this was the weekend when I showed him the trailer. He said, "This is a great game." I said, "What is that?" He said, "Because you're killing each other, but there's no blood." And I stopped and thought for a second. I went, "Oh yeah," and it made me completely pause and look at the game in a different light. You are actually going after each other, but there's no graphical violence in that sense. So it's great for children of like your son's age.
Yeah.
My daughter could play Overwatch, and it's not like Battlefield where you take someone's leg off or something like that. It's still, even though you're taking people out, it's still a fun game to do it in. And I never really thought of it like that.
No, that's one of the reasons I like it so much. I mean, I also play Doom. Doom is ridiculously gory and graphic in the way that you play. But I mean, even when Bethesda announced Doom and showed like you can rip this guy in half with a chainsaw, my first thought was I'm not interested in that game because of that. However,
It's
it
so
ended
cool.
up being amazing in spite of that.
Yeah.
But the family friendliness of Overwatch is one of the things that drew me to it because I didn't have to pause it every time my son walked in the room.
That's
And
it.
it's something I could play with him as well. I don't mind that there's those other games out there, but I really like that there's something like this for me to play with my son. It's a great game.
Yeah, I'm going to be getting my daughter a copy because she wants to play it. So completely agree.
Just make sure that you go into her Battle.net account and you can make it so that nobody can talk to her no matter what settings she messes with. Because she can go
Okay.
in and say, what's this button do? And not know it. And then suddenly some D-bag is screaming expletives into her ears.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about. We talked a lot about stuff that I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about your stuff, man. You got
Okay.
Rage.
I got rage problems. So I've got two little mini stories here to talk about. One features my favorite game of all time, not No Man's Sky, and the other one is about a game that I'm hyped about, But
Also not No Man's Sky.
not No Man's Sky. Middle Earth: Shadow of War. We'll start with the No Man's Sky one. This just ticked me off, right? So hang on, we've got a new one to add. Ticked off, goat, grinding, rage, right? And this kind of ticked me off, right? No Man's Sky wins an award at GDC. Wow, who saw that
Okay,
coming?
hold on. I got the wrong story up. Go ahead. Keep talking.
What a sucker punch that was for everyone. So they win an innovation award. I want to know what they innovated. How to rage a community of fans. And it's like, and they weren't even there. The bit that annoys me the most is they would have been told that they won. They would have been told, or they would have had an inkling that they were within the running for this award. And they were out for dinner. And there's a picture of them enjoying themselves, laughing and giggling, while there's someone announcing that they've won an award. I'm like, seriously, is that the worst way to try and, and it's like, come on, guys, your game is terrible. Missing content, blah blah blah. But you've just won an innovation award, and they've won the innovation award for basically making worlds with with math, basically, making an endless possibility. The one thing No Man's Sky did for the gaming community or gaming world is this kind of procedurally generated idea. So they did innovate something, but they innovated a serious mess in the process. So that ticked me off. That's not my issue. That's not my real rage. My real rage is the next one. Have you got anything to say about the awards that GD's they won before I move on?
No, I just think it's funny.
Yeah,
It made me laugh. I saw it and I thought, oh man, Zab's gonna be PO'd.
I was like, how do you win an award? Seriously, come on. Anyway, does GDC not realise what they did to a gaming community? 200, I think on Steam now that has like 30 players playing No Man's Sky if they're lucky. Anyway, so moving on. Apparently, if you want to know, if you are a No Man's Sky fan out there, the one of you that's listening to the show, there is a new update coming and they're bringing a vehicle. There you go. That's amazing. So moving on to my actual next one that really got me. And guys, this is where I want you to pay with your wallets, because
Vote with your wallet.
Edition,
Vote with your wallet.
Yeah. That no collector's edition is worth $300, and I'm talking about Warner Brothers' idea to bring out Middle Earth: Shadow of War collector's edition for $300. That's not the issue. I understand there are always going to be collector's edition. I talk about one later in the show, which is more fairly priced. It's the fact there is looking like rumored to be locked content behind each stage of the like how much you pay. So the standard edition is like £40, £50, or what your regional equivalent, and that comes with the base game. And then there's a let me get up the website. The GameStop has the best when I can get onto the website. Apparently I can't. Is it because I live in England? And no, visit site. There we go. 2 seconds, guys. But basically, what they've done is they've got different editions. They've got Gold Edition, Mithril Edition. Mithril, which is $300. Now, for the Mithril Edition, this is the collector's edition. This is the big, money one. You get so Middle Earth: Shadow of War Mithril Edition includes the Gold Edition and an exclusive steel case. Thanks. A premium case with a magnetic ring of power. Right, so I get a magnet. Okay. An exclusive Mithril war chest. So it's in-game microtransactions. Gets worse. All right. Official game music soundtrack. Okay, I can go onto YouTube and get that, but lovely. Limited 12-inch Targorth Borg versus Conan Drake statue. The statue's not even that good looking, I don't think. Personally, that's
I think it looks kind of cool.
$300 cool?
Well, I mean, no, but you're also getting other stuff.
A cloth map of Mordor. That's quite cool. I like the idea of that. Collection of exclusive lithographs, tribe sticker pack, and collection box. So that's what you get. It's not so much that it's the other ones we've got to look at. So the
Special
Gold Edition.
Wait, where's the Gold Edition? I don't see that one.
Hang on, I'll link this one in chat because this is in America. That's in chat now. So that's the GameStop Middle Earth: Shadow of War Gold Edition. And this includes. I know I might be reading this wrong, but I'm hoping I'm reading it wrong. And they're not listing the product. They're not listing what's in the products now. Thanks. You were the other day.
Oh, so it doesn't have this stuff on there.
No, but basically, what was on there the other day was there was two packs that someone rumored. It's been rumored that these packs are on the disc, and you can only get them by paying more money. So if you buy the standard edition, you're going to miss out playing a faction and missions, which I think is wrong. And I'm going to try and find in a minute where I saw this whole thing because that's not good. If there's content on the disc that's being locked behind money and you can't then buy that later, that's wrong.
So there
That's
is no option to buy that as DLC later then.
no, no, no. It
Oh,
doesn't
that's
look
not
like
cool.
it.
I don't like
No.
that. And it sucks because everybody said that the first game was amazing. I mean, I have the first game. I got it super cheap on like Steam sale or something like that. Um, that's upsetting. It's upsetting.
The first game is amazing. It's seriously incredible. And I put this on my list last week because I saw the trailer and all this, and I'm like, this looks amazing, and this has really turned me off because I don't want to have locked content. I don't want my content locked behind money. And it's like, well, hang on a minute, why? Why? Game in the UK has it linked. Gold War Chest, two Nemesis expansions, Slaughter Tribe Nemesis expansion. These are now being listed as expansions, whereas before they weren't. Outlaw Tribe Nemesis expansions. So I feel like there's something dodgy going on. Because the first Middle Earth game was also shrouded with controversy because Warner Brothers paid reviewers to review it and to give positive feedback, or they would take their review codes away.
Was there evidence of that?
Total Biscuit had a complete video on it with evidence because apparently Total Biscuit was paid.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to keep an eye on this as we go in through the year. And if Warner Brothers are playing this game, I'm going to rage harder. It's going to be even. This has been quite a calm rage of me
It
actually.
has. It
So
really has. I am impressed.
I've kept it down. But if this proves to be true, that I can't get the tribes and the Nemesis expansions via other means, I'm going to be angry because I want this game, but I will boycott this game on the pure grounds that that's not consumer friendly and that's a disgusting way to advertise your game. So we will see.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't like the way that they're doing that. A lot of people were mad about the way that Zelda was having an expansion pass, but that stuff is not on the disc. You know, they're still developing that stuff or the disc, the cartridge or
Yeah,
whatever it is. It,
don't get me wrong. If you're going to develop a game, develop it and put it, and then do a season pass or whatever. I'm not a fan of season passes, but you know, if you're gonna put content, Destiny did it. There was content all on the Destiny disc, and it was all locked behind paid content. And it's like, stop it, guys. Come on, there's no need. A game like Middle Earth that was so good doesn't need this. You don't need to try and tell people to buy like the $50 or the $70 or whatever $100 because people will if the game is good enough.
well, okay, but that's on the people. You know,
Of course.
you don't have. There's this weird thing with games and there's other places where it happens where people feel like I have to have everything. If I don't have everything, then I might as well not have everything or have anything. Like with the Zelda DLC, I didn't buy it. I haven't bought the DLC. I figured, well, the stuff that they're talking about now, I really don't care about. It said you get 3 useful items and a Nintendo Switch shirt, which I wouldn't want to wear anyway in the game because that takes me out of the game.
Of course.
But then they said that the stuff in summertime comes out. That sounds cool. Well, guess what? If I'm done with the game and I feel like, gosh, I wish I had more Zelda by the time summer rolls around, then I'll buy it. But if I'm done with the game and I feel like, wow, that was a great experience, I don't feel like playing anymore, I'm going to move on to something else, then I'm not going to buy it. You don't have to own everything just because it's available. That's just the way I am though. And Snow in chat says he feels like he has to have the whole thing or he's missing out. I don't feel like I have to worry about missing out. Maybe it's because I'm an old man.
I completely agree. If 6 months
may
down the
call
line
me
I feel like I want that
old
DLC
man.
and there's a DLC that I can actually buy, then let me buy it. Differently to having to buy, God, spending £100 on it.
Right.
That's my attitude. I've just purchased the season pass for the Division. The Division's now a year old, and I've now got all the year one content, and that's a year later. So, and it was cheaper for me to buy a season pass for £15 than buy all the separate DLCs.
Right.
So, I don't feel, but I just feel they've got to be fair to consumers because it's just dirty tricks and not fair on anybody.
Yeah, well, and this is also a bigger issue when it comes to multiplayer games. This isn't a big deal right now because this is a single player game. But if it were a multiplayer game and you had different levels, then that would be a huge problem. And the reason that would be a huge problem is because I wouldn't like. Let's say you bought the Mithril edition and I bought the Gold edition. We couldn't play together probably because you would be able to go to places that I can't go, or maybe you would have access to maps that I don't have. That's a real issue. For a single player game, I feel like it's really up to the consumer to say, well, this is what my wallet is saying, and I have to listen and be a responsible adult.
The worst bit in the UK, we can't even get the gold edition. No, we can't get one of the editions over in the UK.
But can you
We
get the
can't get.
cheapest one?
We can get the standard edition, of course.
All right. So
Um,
here's my recommendation to everybody. Wait until all this shakes out and see what people are saying about the standard edition because trust me, people are going to cover this game. It's a big deal. So wait until that information shakes out, and if you find out that the standard game is like a huge sprawling adventure that's awesome and fun, then get that. If you want to have a cool statue, I don't want crap in my house. Like I've got enough
no,
crap in my house. I've got
yeah,
Rock Band controllers and crap like that up in the attic. I've got amiibos coming out of my ears. My son's got Funko Pop stuff. I don't want more plastic crap in my house or steel crap for that matter. So I'm almost always going to go for the cheapest version of a game.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The game looks cool. The gameplay stuff they released today looks amazing.
I'm looking forward to finding out how they're going to change the Nemesis system because I heard that they said that the Nemesis system is different and better. And
Yeah,
I heard that the Nemesis system in the first one was amazing. I hadn't really experienced it because I haven't put too much time into the game, although I'm going to.
the Nemesis system. I'll break it down. Is basically it's like a whole new game in itself. You can get lost in the Nemesis system alone for a good 100 hours, and you can change the path of how it works completely and utterly, however you want. And that's the great thing. It was this system that caught everybody by surprise, and that's why no one really understood why they had to do this whole paid review system. Because the game, it was a movie, it was a movie franchised game, which was actually really good.
And it
And
had,
everyone was like,
it doesn't have to have a whole big marketing thing because it's Lord of the Rings. Holy crap.
well, yeah,
Lord of the
yeah,
Rings
of
is a
course.
giant money-making machine.
Yeah, there's no need for it. So people out there were going to love it. So, and I played it, and I'm going to return to Mordor in the next couple of weeks. And I just Warner Brothers, don't be silly. Have you got your sound effects for the
What
bad
do we want?
screen?
What do we want? We want you're a jerk or game over.
Game over for Warner Brothers.
Game over, man. It's game over.
That's it. That's the one they deserve for that one. So right, that's me bashing on Mordor. What's next?
Quake. Man, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Quake is. I got to make sure I don't use the number pad for this. I just got to type in my birthday.
I got to type mine as well. I bet mine's less than yours.
Hey, look, I'm showing you a finger. You can pick one. So Quake Champions. I didn't even know that this was a thing. Quake Champions is coming out. And did you play much Quake?
I've got Quake 4.
Yeah, Quake 4 Arena, or no, Quake 3 Arena was the one that I played the most. And I absolutely loved Quake 3 Arena. And again, I'm not a shooter guy. I used to play a lot of shooters, and between Overwatch and Doom, it's got my interest in shooters again. And the fact that they're making a new Quake looks fantastic. I'm going to show the video right now. Let me mute it. Okay, good.
I got content warning. Apparently, it's inappropriate for young audiences.
Yes, this is not something. This is something I will have to pause when my son walks in the room. But it looks fantastic, incredibly fast, and I loved Quake 3 Arena, and I'm really excited that Quake Champions is coming out, and you can sign up for the beta. So get out there and sign up for it. That's all. I just saw it and said that I wanted to. I want to play it, and I'm signing up for the beta, and you guys should too, so that you can find out if it's a good game, because it looks great.
You might as well sign up for the beta, because Bethesda are publishing it. You're not going to get a review copy.
Yeah, that's true. There are no review copies from Bethesda anymore, which I hate.
But no, that looks awesome. I played Quake 4 and never really got kind of into it. But no, I'll give that a bash. Definitely.
All right, that's all we have to say about that. It could have been a lightning round story. Go ahead and let's talk about our last story from the headlines.
Back to Nintendo. We're back over to Nintendo, and it's about your Joy-Cons. They work on PC.
Yeah, they're just Bluetooth, which is weird because Nintendo usually doesn't just make a controller that's just an HID compliant device. So they did this time.
If you want to use your Joy-Cons on PC, you just need a Bluetooth dongle, and away you go. And then you download Joy2Key, which is a third-party app, to map the buttons, and you're good to go. So that's all I need to say about it.
Except that now your X is going to be in the wrong place on. That's the thing.
Wrong place, Nintendo.
No. It's Nintendo has the X in the right spot. It goes on the top because Nintendo invented the X and Y buttons on these controllers. Now, when you play a PC game, it's going to have the X in a completely different spot. It's going to have it on the left. I wasn't sure if I was mirrored or something when holding it up. Okay, so that's going to be the wrong spot, like on your UI, and that's going to confuse you, I think. If the game is using like the diamond button formation on the screen, if that's not on the screen, then it's not really an issue. Also, I wonder, is this like, does my computer look at the B button down here on the bottom, B for bottom? Does it look for that B button on the bottom and think that that's the A button because that's, you know what I mean? Like when I push this, does my computer say, "Oh, that's the A button push because it's on the bottom"? I really don't know.
I no idea, but I think I haven't looked into the third-party app because I haven't got said Joy-Cons.
I've used Joy2Key before; it's okay.
Right, okay. So I think you'll have to do as a test run jump and test it out.
I can. I don't have Bluetooth on my computer,
okay.
So
right. So then, if anybody in chat has Bluetooth and has a Switch, I mean, there's not much to this experiment. All we need is you to have a Switch, Bluetooth compatibility on your PC, and then let us know exactly how well it works.
Yeah. I'm interested to find out how if it works or not. That being said, like the articles that I read, people were saying, "Oh, I wonder what indie developers will use." Nobody's going to develop for this because if they're going to develop with this controller in mind, they're going to be doing it on the Switch. They're not going to include stuff for the HD rumble and the motion control or the IR sensor or any of the other stuff that's in the Joy-Cons. They're not going to include that stuff because that's limiting their audience to only people who have Bluetooth and have a Switch. That's a small number of people, whereas if you just develop for a regular, well, I'm holding up a Steam controller. That's not really a regular controller, but just like a regular Xbox style controller that doesn't have all these whiz-bang features, then you're going to have more stuff or more people that can buy it.
Yep. So there you go. So if you have a Switch and you have Bluetooth, you use your Joy-Cons because they're apparently comfortable as anything. So there you go.
All right. Well, that is it for our headlines. Now we're going to move on to the lightning round. We're going to go a little bit faster because we have already been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. I haven't deleted the beginning yet, so I'm not sure what your time code reads if you're listening to this afterwards. Vaxxer, I do have an email that I'm going to read for the show. That's going to happen at the end. So yeah, we got some viewer feedback, which is awesome. So the next story, or the first thing in the lightning round, is in Soviet Russia, game levels you. That was a Yakov Smirnov joke that most of you are too young to get. But apparently, in WildStar, you can now get a free level 50 character. That's awesome because the dungeons in WildStar are fantastic. The leveling is a boring grind. Are you going to be making a character in WildStar and getting a free level 50?
Already did it today on both on Europe and NA.
Ah, nice. Nice.
And now have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's my one issue with this is I don't know if the game, like, does the game have a tutorial to teach you how to use your abilities?
No.
Okay.
It does at the beginning. Like level 1, it tells you everything you need
Right.
to know. At level 50, it's like, here you go, you're at level 50.
Okay, so in World of Warcraft, you can buy you can buy a token that levels your character up if you want. And that's awesome, but you start the game like on this ship and you have like if you're on the horde side, like this orc captain barking orders at you saying, push your 1 button to shoot the thing. You know, they teach you in game how to play. They show you your basic rotation and what kind of things you do, and don't stand in the poop. But in WildStar, if they don't have this to teach you, hey, you got to make sure to do this and then use this ability after that, and it's best to use this ability when this thing happens. If they're not teaching you that, then that might be a problem. However, the one shining light here is that WildStar, you are limited to 6 or 7 abilities. I think it's 7 abilities and your R button. Whereas in World of Warcraft, you have a lot more than that. So I think that's good. And Snow Goes Ham has a good point. He says WildStar has a very lengthy tutorial, just not at level 50. But so you're going to get a lot of people in here who they make a level 50 character, they go out there, they don't know what the hell they're doing, and they get killed. And then they're going to be mad or upset or bored or confused, and they're not going to play.
I mean, WildStar will always be the MMO tragedy of our generation because it should have succeeded. It really should have done. It's a fantastic game. It's a fantastic looking game. It's got one of the best combat skills you can play in an MMO. It just failed, and it's a shame. It really is a shame.
It was a marketing failure, in my opinion.
Yes,
there was some game design problems as well. They designed the game for hardcore raiders, and that's a very small population.
Of course.
All right, let's move on.
We're talking back to Collector's Edition. I got to show this off. My most hyped game this year. Yours was Zelda. Mine's Dawn of War 3. This game is on my radar. It's coming out next month. I'm doing the Dawn of War 2 on my channel very soon because I love Dawn of War and the RTS. This looks great, but this is the Collector's Edition. Now, I know you said you don't want much more crap and yada, yada, yada. But that hammer in that Collector's Edition, I'd pay for the hammer. That looks amazing. That's just an incredible way to tenderize steak.
Wait, I think I'm looking at the wrong link, or did you give me the wrong link?
There's 2 links. There's the one in the green box. Okay. I was going to do the system requirements in a second.
No, they're both the same link.
Oh, are they?
System requirements revealed. That's both of the links, I believe.
Try that one.
There we go. Okay.
So, the one in chat, guys. This is the collector's edition. This is £100, which is kind of a fair price for a collector's edition. It just looks incredible. The game looks fantastic. The hammer looks really, really cool. It looks freaking cool. I'm going to take that into work and just tenderize some steak with it. Just stand there, bashing some meat on the block with that. It's just going to be so cool. But yeah, just a quick sort of about the collector's edition, and the other thing was about the system requirements. Because if you are Dawn of War fans and want to know if your PC can handle it, I'm going to do this bit now. Minimum War. I love this. This is proper lore. This is on there. And if you play 40k, you'll know when I'm going to go into the next bit. You'll know what I mean. The minimum requirements are 64-bit Windows 7, 3 gigahertz i3 or equivalent, 4 gig of RAM, or a 1 gig NVIDIA GeForce 460 or AMD 6950 equivalent DirectX 11 video card. Recommended WAH, which is the AUX version, is a 64-bit Windows 10, 3 gigahertz i5 or equivalent, 8 gig of RAM, 2 gig NVIDIA GeForce 770 or AMD 7970 DirectX 11 video card equivalent. So that's going to be one. I mean, recommended. That's quite beefy RTS. That's quite a beefy.
Well, I mean, I saw the video. There's a lot of units in that game. So that's a lot of things for the game to keep track of all at once. So, and it looks really pretty.
Yeah, I can't wait. And that's going to make me rage, but it's going to make me rage in such a way. It's also going to make me like all kind of mushy because 40k is kind of like my childhood as well. So it's going to be so good, and I can't wait to take on the Orcs and the Eldar. I can't wait to stomp the Eldar and all the others with my Blood Angels. So yeah, bring it on. That's what I say.
I'm very much looking forward to watching you play this game.
I'm hoping they've gone back to kind of because Dawn of War 2 took the game into a different direction. It was still an RTS, but they kind of cut a lot of it down. A traditional RTS is when you base build and you send your troops out. StarCraft is the nearest thing you got at the minute on any scale of games that allow you to do traditional RTS base building and stuff. So I want to know where they're going with this one. Myself and again, I think he's in chat somewhere. The Sax Machine. We played the demo. They had at EGX last year, and it was fantastic. So good and so pretty, so pretty. We had about 45 minutes on it. Couldn't complete the level. It was so hard. So yeah, this is going to be good. So that's Dawn of War. So if you're interested in RTSs, this is the next big RTS coming out.
All right, cool. The next story I put on there for you, the Kong Skull Island director apparently is the guy who is working on the Metal Gear Solid movie. So apparently they're making a Metal Gear Solid movie, and the Kong Skull Island guy is the one directing it. Are you excited about a Metal Gear Solid movie, or are you wishing that wouldn't be something that would happen?
I don't want it to happen.
How come?
Because it'll be Konami's involvement, and it'll this saddens me as a Metal Gear fan. There's no need to make it into a movie unless you haven't played the games.
Well, but you have said that it's a fantastic story. So because it's such a fantastic story, I think telling that story in a movie would be cool.
Don't get me wrong. Yes, if Konami if the split and stuff hadn't happened, if there wasn't so much bad blood spilt, because it scares me where they would take the movie. That's until I see that if they're going to stick with what the games state, then fair enough. Tell the story as it is. Tell the story of Metal Gear, and I can see it happening already. Without spoiling anything, Metal Gear Solid 5, which was the last release from Kojima and Konami, there's missing content, and they call it Mission 51. And everyone thought this was going to be a bit of DLC, and it basically told the story of how something happened that then goes into the SNES. Is it the SNES Metal Gear? It goes into that one. But it's missing. It's a missing piece of content. And no one could work out why. And then all of a sudden the Konami-Kojima split. And, well, long and behold, everyone knows why that's missing now. I can now see, if Konami have got their fingers in this pie, I can see them making that piece of the puzzle in the film. I'm very skeptical. After seeing the Metal Gear Survive stuff, I don't know. I really think they should just leave Metal Gear as it is now. They should just leave it. Let it. It's done what it's needed to do. It's 30 years old. Just leave it. And that's my personal opinion from a hardcore Metal Gear fan. Please leave it, because there's there's only one Snake in my eyes, and that's David Hayter, who plays Snake most of the way through, except from Kiefer Sutherland's Snake in Metal Gear 5. And to me, you know what it's like when you hear a voice of a game character and then all of a sudden they put it on the big screen. It never lives up to that kind of expectation because you have an opinion and you have something in your head. It's like the Joker in the Batman games. He's an incredible Joker, and then if they did the Batman game, luckily the Joker in some of the Batman films has been amazing. I just think that I think it's personally a bad move.
Well, I will just read this one part. This is the director speaking. He says, Metal Gear Solid is probably the most important franchise to me on the planet. It is such a genius, idiosyncratic work, and being able to spend time with Kojima has been like a dream. So he's spending time with Kojima. He then also, then goes on that he's working on the script, and then he says Metal Gear is a classic, and it is a seminal work not just in video games but in media. The challenge will be making sure the film can please the hardcore Hideo Kojima fans, that's Zap, and someone who wouldn't recognize Raiden if he slapped them in the face, that's me. He says, right now I'm just working with incredible producers and trying to make a version that you or a Metal Gear mega fan would be proud of, and where the people would be comfortable with that version to say, I know this is different. I know this is not exactly the way a normal movie might go, but this is very Metal Gear. And that is what will make random Joe Schmo in Nebraska, who has no idea what Metal Gear is, and that will make them fall in love with the franchise. So it seems like this guy is in your camp. Zach.
Yeah, what gets me is he's been speaking with Kojima. When Konami and Kojima split, Kojima came out right and flat and said, I no longer have anything to do with the Metal Gear series.
Right.
So this is, again, there was a lot said when they split. And there was a lot said, and Konami basically said they would never allow Kojima near the franchise again. So unless there's been collaboration, unless Kojima and Konami are now, talking and they've worked their problems out, then maybe the film can be good. I'm sitting well and truly on the fence of the side that's falling over and saying this film is going to be bad. But at the same time, I will hold my breath. Not for long, obviously, but I will hold my breath and pray that if they can make a Metal Gear film work, then I will implore everyone to go see it, because it is one of the most amazing franchises that if I just try and explain a game, I spoil like 10 years worth of work. That's how deep and story-driven these games are.
Right.
So without knowing it, that's just how it is. So I'll sit on the fence for now. If he's doing it, I'm going to say this. And if you're listening, producer of Metal Gear Solid the film, don't screw it up, or I'm coming for you.
That's right. He's going to say something like this.
I can drop you like a bag of dirt.
That's what Zap's going to say to the guy. All right, let's move on to the last story in the lightning round. What is this all about? There's no link.
No, there isn't a link because it came in late because I finished playing this. I'm going to link a YouTube trailer to the game, which is Tom Clancy's Wildlands. Now, I picked it up today, and it's a Ubisoft. So I'm going to say this now. Be warned, it's an 18 rated game, so there could be some graphical, obviously, images in the trailers, stuff like that. So it's entirely up to you if you want to obviously put it on the podcast, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. But the game is an open world Ubisoft game. So you know what you're getting already. It would be something like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, The Division. It's fantastic. It's not perfect. It's got its usual Ubisoft bugs, but it's a great game. I'm having so much fun with this game. And it's basically you going around after a drug cartel in Bolivia. And the possibilities are pretty much endless in what you can do and how you handle missions. And it basically drops you in. You do the tutorial mission, and then it goes, right, you're on your own. Crack on. And it's great. It really is. So I just thought I wanted to put a piece in right at the end. If you haven't picked up Wildlands and you're planning on picking it up, go pick it up. Go give it a go. The only downside is that we found out on stream today, is the driving mechanics are awful. They are more wishy-washy than GTA, and that's saying something. So it's very good, and I think that they're going back to something really strong. They've learned over the years of their open world games what works and what doesn't work. Watch Dogs 2 was a sleeper hit; it really did well. And this is good. I really really like it. So yeah, if you go out and get it and give it a try.
I don't like the trailer. The trailer didn't show me any gameplay. It was a bunch of live action crap.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I just realised that was the wrong one. Yeah, it's like ah. So I'm trying. There is a gameplay one of. There's people streaming it. I'll have to find one and link it because
All
some
right.
of these are the open beta and the open beta wasn't brilliant. It didn't show the game in its best light.
Are you streaming it?
I am streaming it currently. Whether I stream it after the show or not, I will see what time we finish it.
Well,
I
listen,
probably will
people,
stream.
if you are watching or listening after the fact, make sure you check out twitch.tv/DJZap, and you can find out what this game looks like because that video was weird.
Yeah, that was the wrong video. So there you go. That's
All
what
right.
happens when you do things live.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we do things live. So last week we had a little competition. Zap and I both picked a game. We wanted to see who would win. He picked Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. I picked Advance Wars: Dual Strike. The results are in. I haven't looked at them yet.
I've just looked and it's disgusting.
I just looked, and Advance Wars: Dual Strike won with 64% of the vote. So thank you very much for agreeing with me because you're awesome. Let's talk about this week. So this is the Game Off section. And in Game Off, Zap and I both talk about a game that we think everybody should check out. This week, mine is in honor of Breath of the Wild, the original Legend of Zelda. So the very first Legend of Zelda came out in 1986 for the NES. And I gotta say, Breath of the Wild plays like my imagination told me that this was. This is the world that got me started in games. I remember, or not started in games, but I remember going to school and talking to my friends about, we would say, hey man, did you find this thing yet? Or have you gotten that yet? And, we'd talk about, if you find the ladder, then don't forget, I found the ladder today. And then your friend would say, hey, make sure that you go to the east because there's a thing over there that you can find. There's plenty of consoles, Nintendo. If you own a Nintendo console, you probably can find a version of this game. If not, then there are other ways to get it. Not that I'm endorsing that, but if you don't have a way to get a hold of it, this is a game that you should definitely play. It's very fun, and it's the first open world game that there ever was. So definitely check out The Legend of Zelda from 1986. Fantastic game. What do you got for us, man?
I see you pulling on the heartstrings this week, One Jump. You're bringing out the guns there. Anyway, so my game this week is available on iOS and Android, so you can pick this up on mobile. This is a game I picked up recently, actually, and I've been waiting to play it for ages. It's called The Escapists. This game is fantastic. And
I've heard of this.
yeah, it's so good. Basically, if you've ever watched Prison Break, you are that guy who's trying to break out of prison. And it's all about methodically thinking about how you're going to get from your cell to out of prison.
But is it a stealth puzzle game?
I knew that would bite me in the backside one day. It's a stealth puzzle game with some hybrid first-person shooter action.
What?
No, not really. No.
I was like, I'm watching the video right now. I don't think we're talking about the same game.
It's a great game. So you basically start in a cell, and on your mobile version, I suggest you go get it. It's £3.99 in the UK. For a game with this much content at $3.99, so probably about $5 for yourself, Run Jump. It's amazing. It's so good. So you can either dig your way out of prison if you find a shovel. You can put holes in the cells, as in behind the bricks, and then store stuff behind you. just don't get caught. Because as soon as you get put into solitary confinement, they'll have your stuff. And it's a very good game. It's all about routine. Prison life is all about routine. Going in and doing your daily stuff, and then coming out. And you need to find your breaks in those routines where you can go do your scolding around trying to find things in desks and all that sort of stuff. It's a very good game. It's brought to you by the game guys who did Worms, Team 17. So go out and give it a go, honestly. And it's a great, great, solid game. Look, guys, I'm going to put this out there. Legend of Zelda was 1986. All right, we're past that. Let's have some breaking from prison. All right?
My, he's a lively one.
So that's it. That's my choice for this week, The Escapists.
And just so everybody knows, The Escapists 2 is coming to the Switch this year.
Yeah.
And it will. I think it features multiplayer, and you'll be able to take your little Joy-Cons off and sit there and play side by side with somebody. So that sounds like a fun way to play it too.
Team 17 have got something good going. They sort of disappeared for a while, and then they brought back a Worms game. They brought back one of their recent Worms games, kind of took off, and then the Escapists sort of creeped up on me, and I've been stuck on the first level. The first level's apparently easy. I've been stuck on the first level for ages. I'm not kidding. You're like trying to escape and trying to do stuff, and it's like, and it's great. You can go as far as starting a riot in the prison. That's how cool it is. So yeah, give it a go.
All right. So that's it for Game Off. If somebody could make a poll while we talk about Wishlisted, that would be awesome. One of the mods, that would be great. So, by the way, that was Legend of Zelda and The Escapists are the two games. Let's talk about, we've got two more sections to talk about. We've got Wishlisted, and then we've got feedback from the community. Wishlisted is this week every week Zap and I throw a couple of games on there that are games that we want to play in the future, something that's got our attention. And this week I chose Fast RMX, which is basically Neo Geo, or not Neo Geo. Oh my God, my brain stopped working. F-Zero. I don't know why I said Neo Geo. F-Zero, which is a racing game from Nintendo, and Nintendo apparently stopped making F-Zero. I guess it's a cartoon now over in Japan, which is kind of weird. But anyway, this is basically F-Zero because Nintendo wouldn't make it. And it's available for the Wii U and the Switch. And you can see some video from it right now. It looks gorgeous. Like, the environments are really great looking. And it looks really, really fast, which is the great thing about these games. There's a game for other systems that it reminds me of. I can't remember. Wipeout, thank you. Yeah, it's also a lot like Wipeout, although F-Zero was on the Super Nintendo back in the late 80s, early 90s. Wipeout was for the PlayStation 1, I think?
Yeah, it was the first real 3D kind of racer for the PlayStation.
Yeah. And this just looks gorgeous and super fun, and it's $20 on the Switch for this game, and a lot of people are saying it's fantastic. I'm not sure why I'm hesitating. I want to buy it. I just haven't decided yet. It's digital only. You can't get it physically, which sucks. I really wish it was a physical game.
You've got Zelda hesitations. That's what it is.
Yeah, I know, because what's going to happen is I'll buy this, and then I won't play it because I'm too busy with Zelda, and then something else will come out, and I'll never get around to this because it'll just go on the backlog. But right now it's on the wish list, so that's on my wish list. What's on your wish list this week, Zap?
My wish list is completely opposite to what yours is, and apparently I copied the link wrong. Wow, I'm failing at links tonight. Apparently everything is. Oh no, I did get it right. My wish listed game is, I'm gonna completely utterly butcher this name. It's Near Automata. Yeah. It's a game by Platinum Games, and if you're wondering who Platinum Games are, they did Metal Gear Rising, which is the spin-off one with Raiden, and the Bayonetta series, I believe, as well. So it's an action RPG open world game that's got one freaky weird story. Apparently the humans and everything have been shipped off. They're left with this world that's kind of been taken over by robots, and you send androids to go and fight in your place. Really weird Japanese stuff. But this game, it looks beautiful. The combat looks amazing. And yeah, I want this. I mean, it's all right. It's not $20, but it's a full £40 or $60 game. But it just looks very, very, very cool. The Platinum Games doing what they do best: fast, action-paced combat. And yeah, no, it's looking good. So that's my wish list game.
Yeah, a lot of people whose opinions I respect have said that Bayonetta is fantastic. So it tells me a lot that this is from that particular developer. The combat does look cool. And so far I haven't really seen like a bunch of gore or anything, which is
no. Again, I think Platinum Games aren't known for the Metal Gear Rising was the one they really went to town on. But I don't think this has got a lot of gore in it. It's not overly kind of. Oh, it's an 18 rated game, obviously. So there is going to be some kind of stuff, bad language apparently, and violence. So that's pretty normal of these kind of games, I suppose. But I think it's looking good. I think that's the Nier series has got quite a cult following, and that always tells me something good about a game. If it can get a cult following, there's a hardcore set of fans that think the game's worth playing. So for me, that's kind of a solid pick. So yeah, that's my pick.
All right, awesome. Well, that's it for Wish Listed. Let me just open up my email. We got an email this week.
Did we?
We did. And where are we going here? There we go. It's actually, so the first one is about PSN sales tax. This is from Charles. He said, I read about PSN Network is going to charge sales tax on purchases made on the PSN Network starting in April. Sales tax on all services, including PlayStation View, PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now, PlayStation Music, are going to start charging sales tax. Emails will be sent to customers. The sales tax charge is determined by your state, county, or city tax rates. U.S. states said to be affected by PSN sales tax include New Jersey, Ohio, Minnesota, Texas, Washington, and Utah. I just said a bunch of places that Zappa's like, what are those? And will be in more states in April 2017. I'm pretty sure I pay sales tax on Steam games, don't we?
I don't know. We pay tax on everything in the UK because that's how we get taxed.
Hey, there's a reason why we rebelled. It's because of your tax laws.
Let's not get down that road.
I know. I'm sorry. I missed the queen.
But we obviously have VAT over in England, and every game has VAT, which is like 20% tax. So that wouldn't surprise me that PSN are bringing tax, and I thought there was already tax on stuff like that because it's luxury goods. And as far as I was always well aware that all luxury goods had to be taxed anyway.
Well, here we just have sales tax, and sales tax is basically
you make it more complicated.
Well, it's everything that you buy has a sales tax, and different states have different sales taxes. Some states don't have a sales tax, but it's just basically it's like in New York it's 8%. So whatever you buy, you pay 8% extra. What drives me crazy is that they don't figure that into the price that they put on the sticker.
No, that's mad.
Right. So when I'm at the store, I have to do the sales tax in my head. Oh, how much is that? Or I have to, ask Siri to do it for me. But, we have, huh?
Just got this image. You asking Siri, and there's this woman just pops up behind you and goes, "There you go. That's what the sales tax."
So I don't know. I think that I pay sales tax on Steam, so it really doesn't bother me that that there's a sales tax on PSN. You have a food tax, Chaz? We don't have a food tax. Like when I go, if I go to a restaurant and my food is prepared, then I pay a tax there. But if I go to the grocery store and buy stuff, then we don't pay tax on that. It's very weird.
Do you pay tax on chocolate?
Um,
Because we over here, any luxury items, so we're talking chocolate, biscuit. This is it's really fun. Hot food over here. We have what we call the pasty tax. So hot food is taxed VAT, and then things like chocolate. Now there's the biscuit called digestives or a chocolate covered. There's a plain digestive, which if you buy plain digestives, there's no tax.
what the hell is a digestive?
It's a basically just a biscuit. I don't know how to explain
cookie?
it. No, not a cookie. No, hang on. Digestive.
Friggin' British. Why you gotta ruin everything?
Well, it's better than your biscuits and gravy.
Why the hell would I eat something called a digestive?
But it's better than calling it biscuits. And what is biscuits and gravy? Anyway, a biscuit is this. This is a biscuit. I've now linked it. Digestive biscuit. All right. It's basically wheat flour, sugar, malt extra. It's basically just a biscuit.
It's a cookie.
Right? No, it's a biscuit.
Is it sweet?
Yeah, it's a biscuit. It's sweet.
It's a cookie. You weirdo.
No, a cookie is a biscuit with little chocolate chips in it. That's a cookie. Anyway, if you buy those plain, as in the picture on Wikipedia, there's no VAT. If you buy them with chocolate covered, because chocolate's a luxury item, there's VAT on them. It's crazy. So, I mean, the sales tax on PSN. I mean, it doesn't affect me because I pay extortionate tax rates anyway in the UK. So, I mean, that's more of a by the looks of it, that's more of an American thing. If they bring it to every other state.
Yeah. Whoops.
So, actually, I've just caught the stream. Obviously, the delay. You're showing off the digestive biscuit.
That's right. It sounds so awful, a digestive biscuit.
It's not, though. It's not. They're lovely.
It's a terrible word for it.
Well, you know, how is it? Digesting, you eat the biscuit. It's digesting a biscuit.
All right, listen, guys. We need your input. Why don't you guys email us and let us know, is it a cookie or a biscuit? All right, that's all I want to know.
We used to be a video game podcast.
I know, we used to talk about video games on here. Seriously, though, if you guys want to be part of the show, you can do so by emailing us, just like Charles did, at runjumpstomp@gmail.com. I forgot my email address there for a second. You can also give us a phone call. That's 260-RUN-JUMP, 260-786-5867. If you want to support the show, the number one way that you can do that is give us a review on iTunes. It really helps us. It would get us into the new and noteworthy, possibly, and that would get a whole bunch of people on board. So, even if you don't listen on iTunes, just open up iTunes and go and give us a review. It'd be a big help. Tell us what you think. You know, we want to know. Is it 1 star? Is it 5 stars? Is it 12 stars? It's probably not 12 stars. I will say that I think that I'm going to give it a star rating that's higher than I would have before because Zap got his audio fixed and he sounds much better. It sounds great. If you want to watch me play video games or watch some videos that I put out, you can head on over to Twitter and find out all about that stuff at Run Jump Stomp. You can find me on YouTube at Run Jump Stomp and, of course, twitch.tv/Run Jump Stomp. We record this every Wednesday at 3 p.m., and we record it right there at twitch.tv/Run Jump Stomp. But it wouldn't be half as awesome as it is without Zap. So, Zap, where is it that people can find you?
On Twitter and Twitch, it's at DJ Zap, and on YouTube, it's at Django Zap. That's me.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We are all done, and we are going to say goodbye now. So have a good one.
Goodbye.
Is it going to break? Here we go. We're going to try it.
It's going to break.
Well, it only broke for a second.
Wow, let's